SIFU is a masterpiece. A video game with the singular goal of making the player fall in love with its combat to the point where you, the player, wish to push beyond just beating the game. This action fighting game is not like other beat 'em ups that have you button mashing for the most part. SIFU makes you think. It makes you learn as you work your way through the levels. SIFU is exemplary in what all video games should look to do. Hook the player so deeply with its gameplay that the player actively works to improve all possible skills and reach the title of SIFU. What makes SIFU's combat so special? Well, let's break it down first to its simplest form. SIFU has a light attack, heavy attack, upper body dodge, lower body dodge, a parry, and a grab and a trip, along with other special combat moves that you can add throughout the game. A mastery of all of these combat mechanics is necessary because different enemies have different attack patterns and guards. You will quickly notice within the first hour that there isn't really any singular approach that will work the entire time against every enemy. It's all situational. Sometimes it is better to play more aggressive, and sometimes a more passive approach is more efficient. On top of knowing when and how to use each of the combat mechanics, you're also forced to actively learn each enemy's movesets. SIFU creates good habits within the player the more the player plays and progresses. This is the key aspect and key gameplay loop. Play, explore, learn, improve, and play again. You'll only progress if you learn. Trying new things is extremely important. Seeing what combos work well with one another or what combos leave you more exposed to being countered is necessary when first approaching a new enemy or boss. Another beautiful combat aspect that SIFU teaches the player is spacing. Spacing is so important in a game like SIFU because the player is actively forced to adapt not just to the enemies, but to the environment. The environment is no longer just a backdrop to be enjoyed aesthetically. It is an active participant in the flow of the combat. There are chairs, bottles, and bricks that you are free to toss to the enemy. There are bats, machetes, and mops that you're free to pick up and use to facilitate quickness in clearing a room. If you feel that you're getting surrounded by multiple enemies, you can grab an enemy and toss him away from your back or to other directions, leaving you less vulnerable to backshots. Spacing and distance management are some of the most important concepts to learn when you first pick up a martial art. Here, it is no different. Timing is also an important concept as well. As the notorious Conor McGregor once said, precision beats power, timing beats speed. There'll be moments in the video game where you notice that an enemy will start to wind up for an attack, but you can quickly hit him with a light attack to stagger him before his combo starts. SIFU teaches the player to be precise with every movement, to time every attack. Think before you move. When you've mastered all the concepts of combat, you'll finally reach the flow state. This flow state is why the combat is so special, because everything mixes so seamlessly that true expressivity is allowed, and only the player's imagination serves as the limit. When you add the complex combat system with beautifully purposeful set pieces, i.e. the environment, you have a killer recipe for an addictive beat 'em up game. But SloClap isn't done cooking yet, because there are two other components that go hand in hand. The first one is theme. It isn't a coincidence that you start the story at a disorganized earth-toned level. These are your starting grounds, your foundation, your roots. The earthly tone of greens and browns serve to remind you that you are the student, a very raw product. Once the basics have been learned, you move on to the club level. The nightlife scene, the neon lights, the trials all serve to provide distraction and refinery. The club teaches the player to focus on the task at hand, which in this case would be the more specialized enemies. By now, fighting the normal units should be no issue for you. The more elite units will test your timing and your poise. If you approach the level frantically, there will be attacks that land on you and they'll break your posture, increasing the likelihood of failure. Level 3 is where the game truly opens up, in my opinion, as the player enters an art gallery with the boss being a literal artist. By level 3, you have learned every move you'll need for the rest of your playthrough. It is fitting that the art gallery is the location where you become the artist of the destruction you wish to impose. In other words, the level is your canvas and your choice of combat approach is your paint. The boss fight is also the most freeing regarding approach by the second phase. By the end of the 4th level, you'll continue to harden your unique style whilst incorporating patience into your arsenal. The 4th boss requires strategic aggression in spurts where openings are available. You will have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable as you close the distance between you and the CEO. From all your learnings, the last level is Sanctuary, a place of relaxation, a place of peace. This theme is quite fitting because by level 5, the game expects you to make peace with your decisions up till now. If you've chose to run up the age counter by not mastering previous levels, you will have less lives here to fight Yang. If you decided to harden your fist with run after run of each level, you can be happy to know your life counter is probably lower than most and you've improved in raw skill. Every action has consequences and it is your day of judgment. The themes from each level work fantastically to provide storytelling beyond that of an explicit one. It is the internal journey of the player that gets to be experienced the most. All the visual themes would have been done a disservice if not for the second component of art, music. This isn't some musical masterpiece of a score, but the music adds the ornamentation to the stage the themes of each level have set. The first boss fight is accompanied by a jungle-like soundtrack with flutes, rustling feathers, and the overwhelming plucking of strings to simulate the primitive beginnings of the player's skill. At that moment, all of the mechanics in SIFU are new to you, so you are supposed to feel overwhelmed. The second fight is accompanied by a subtly aggressive score, one that provides a sense of annoyance with the sound of sirens and high-tempo congas serving to illustrate the conversion of anger to focus. The third level displays theme the best. In the first phase of your fight, the soundtrack almost sounds like a metronome. The interpretation of the player holds the greatest weight in what the final mood of the piece is. In the second phase of the fight, we start to head into the truly abstract, the unidentifiable realms of art, where only the artist understands what the meaning of their masterpiece is, if there is one. We observe the boss release her inner chaos as the second phase begins, converting her empty canvas of white snow into a battlefield of figureless ink waves and a blackened floor waiting to suck you into the abyss below. The sound of chimes and bells dominate the soundtrack that accompanies the fight with the CEO. This represents your inner justice. As you reach your sentence, you reflect on the choices you've made throughout your journey, putting your resolve to the final test before you meet your final goal. Your final fight with Yang has a very serene-like sound to it, where the simple score highlights the rain that befalls both Yang and yourself as destiny inches closer and closer with every passing blow. I told you that SIFU is a masterpiece at the start of this video, and I meant every word. SIFU displays what the perfect blend of gameplay and art looks like, and that passion can be felt with every enemy encounter you experience. From the different enemy types to the musical scores, thematic visuals, and interactive environments, SIFU is a complete package. The choices you partake in all come with consequences, adding to the true personalization of story and development. When it comes to action beat-em-ups, SIFU is truly in a league of its own. For the price of $40, I cannot recommend this video game enough, especially if you are a fan of fighting games. I hope y'all like this new video format. Not all videos will be reviews, but I think that diving deep into specific games or topics within a game is perfect for the type of content I enjoy making. I will not try to stick to a timeline because that seems to cut into the quality of my videos. Thanks to everyone for all the support, and let's push for that 500 sub count. See y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Hold up. Yep. Fuck you. Woo! Yeah, use the spacing. No, bitch. Oh! Inner pussy! That's crazy, bro. That's crazy work. No! Oh my god, that was brutal.